What's going on, sports fans? Today we're going to chat about the difference between professional baseball in America and Japan with one of the most dominant pitchers in Japanese baseball history, Dennis Sarfate. You got to hear what Japan does for their seventh inning stretch, how Dennis fared against one of Major League Baseball's brightest stars, Shohei Ohtani, during his time overseas, why it was such a shame Japanese baseball fans weren't able to attend the Olympic Games, and one cause Dennis thinks athletes should stand for. All this and more. I'm John Root, and this is Breakaway. Welcome to Breakaway. Today's guest spent some time in Major League Baseball, but found a lot of success in the Nippon Professional Baseball League over there. Also broke multiple season save records, was named a league MVP, and was also the member of the 2017 Japan Series Championship. Dennis Sarfate, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Man, this is going to be a lot of fun because people need to know about baseball overseas. What's the difference between baseball in America and Japan?
The fans, it's you have cheering sections. It's like going to a college football game, like tailgate before, get riled up, party out, and then they show up and it's just nonstop music and partying. It's just it's an experience that everyone should, as a baseball fan, you wouldn't be used to it. You know, you go to a baseball game now, it's quiet and you can hear a pin drop.
Oh yeah.
There, you can't even hear the person next to you.
Baseball going to Japan, that's an interesting story too. Some of the GIs with the States after World War II.
Yep.
We're playing baseball out there. That's basically what got it going, correct?
What got it going internationally, the first person to actually introduce it was an English teacher there. He started to introduce the kids at his school. Next thing you know it, they're playing it. Well, and then when the GIs came over, especially the Navy men, they had a baseball team on the ship. They were like, we want to play you guys. And they kept, just getting beat, but they wouldn't quit. And then finally they won. They don't have it marked in history, but they did win one game. And then it became
revisionist history. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, right. And then they won one game, and so then all of a sudden it became like their national sport.
And then we have a lot of traditions out here in Major League Baseball. I know Brian loves the seventh inning stretch.
Oh, all about the seventh inning stretch.
Is that because it's almost over?
Exactly.
But they have some interesting traditions out there in Japan. They have the seventh inning team song. Every single team has a song, right?
Yeah, so you have the visiting team will be first, and so in the top of the first, when their batters are coming up, they'll play their song, and then they'll shoot these balloons that look like sperm up into the air. So it's got the visitors might have 10,000 people, so you have 10,000. Then the home team does it, and a lot of the Japanese players hate it because they're like, oh, you can get all the carbon coming out of the balloons. You don't want to breathe it in. It's everyone else's breath. So you'll see Japanese guys holding their breath. But then the home team does their song, and then the sperm go up in the air, and
they are really oddly shaped.
I don't know why they shaped it like that.
It should not be shaped like that. Well, I mean, it looks like Bezos' spaceship is what it looks like. So.
Yes. Yes, it does.
It is weird, but another weird thing was the Olympics, where there's no fans. So we talk about this is the most popular sport in Japan.
Next to sumo, yeah.
So I think Japan Central Research Services said over 48% of respondents named it their favorite sport. So people love baseball out there in Japan, and they weren't able to see their team, unfortunately, beat the United States. They beat them 2-0 in that game. But I mean, you've kind of dealt with a few different times where there was no fans out there in Japan, and that's a weird feeling.
Yeah, besides 2020 in spring training, in 2011, Fukushima happened, the nuclear disaster, and so they stopped playing games for about 3 weeks. And it's eerie, especially, you're in a country that you can see the Americans there, but you can hear them talking about you in the dugout, and you're laughing, and it just, you can't take it serious. With fans there, it's definitely a lot better.
I feel like there's times where you're elated and you're frustrated as a pitcher. Were there times where you said some things where everyone's kind of laughing?
Oh yeah, and then it echoes through the stadium, and then they're harassing you now, whispering, and you can still hear them. Yeah. So yeah, it was one of those moments where you're just like, we just got to get fans back in the stands.
This was the first time Japan won gold in baseball in the Olympics. And this is their outlet. So we talk about consistently over the last year, we weren't able to attend games, but now you have this just incredible moment. These cities, they bid to have the Olympics almost like a decade before.
Yep, it was the biggest main stage for them, right? Usually the World Baseball Classic is where the Japan can go over, but this was in Japan. Everything was there. Team Samurai was literally, they shut down the league for these guys to play in. So their league stopped for a month, and for their fans, it had to be the biggest letdown because they couldn't go on and cheer Samurai and they had to watch it from TV. And I know it's probably heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then let's talk about the political atmosphere out there, the difference between these two places. Obviously, politics is so ingrained in what's going on out there, or out here in the States, but in Japan, it just feels like it's still an outlet away from the craziness of life and politics, right?
Yeah, that's the way it should be. You know, you can sit next to someone that might not have the same views as you, but at least you can enjoy what's going on, the product on the field. Here, I mean, you can't even watch TV without some kind of organization screaming at you, this is what you need to believe, or you're not tolerant. There, it's a sport, it's a game, it's something that people go to break away from that. I saw 5 different prime
pun there too. I like that.
I saw 5 different prime ministers in my time there, and you wouldn't even know it was going on unless you watched TV.
So is baseball over in Japan, is that a unifying factor then for the Japanese?
I think so. After, like, same thing, nuclear disaster, 80,000 people are still missing, and everyone just wanted baseball to go on. They wanted to move on. They thought baseball would bring everyone back, and it's happened. There's been so many things, tragedies that gone on over there, landslides. Always baseball is what brought everyone back. So I think the political scheme here and making everyone just picks a side before you even go into a sporting event, it's just insane.
Well, the side you should be picking is, do I want the A's or the Astros to win?
That's right.
And everyone should obviously say the A's.
It's almost like Major League in the bar scene at the end when you have bikers hugging, preppies, and that's the way it should be. You shouldn't know anything about, even actors, you shouldn't know anything about actors and what their political beliefs are. Just make movies, play the game, whatever your sport is, and just live, on the field, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I feel like we can really enjoy about hearing about Japan. And then hopefully that's a place we can get back to with Major League Baseball.
I hope so.
Definitely don't go anywhere because we have a great conversation about breaking records, the state of the MLB, and you'll get to hear a heck of a lot more about Dennis. I'm John Root, and this is Breakaway. Well, welcome back to Breakaway. We are about to go one-on-one with one of the greatest Japanese pro baseball players of all time, Dennis Sarfate. Welcome to One-on-One. You ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. Thank you for that.
Well, I mean, you really are a legend out there in Japan, and you were considered the Save King, and as what they would call you, SoftBank Hawks fans. They would call you the King of Closer. That's how they would put it. But you were able to revitalize your career going out to Japan.
Sure.
Can you break down when your manager called you, your agent called you and said, hey, you're at a crossroads. Do you mind just playing in Japan for a year?
Yeah, I mean, that year I finished up in AAA and I got sent down to the minor leagues. I had one child at a time, and my agent calls me. He goes, what do you think about Japan? I said, I'll go give it a try for a year. I figured I'd go there for a year. I was done. It was 11 years now at that time. And I went there for 1 and ended up staying there for 11. So I guess you could say I liked it a lot.
From there, too, did you have any idea what Japanese pro baseball was like?
Oh no, the first time I walked off the plane, and it was in Narita Airport, I looked at all the signs and I was just like, where am I? What is going on? But as I met my teammates, and this is in Hiroshima, my first, and then I got to go live in Hiroshima for a couple years, I realized that I loved Japan more than I ever knew. I never even had it on a bucket list or anything, but I knew I wanted to be there.
And you found some incredible success out there. You were the 2017 MVP of the season. You were the MVP of the Japan Series, which is basically the World Series of Japan. And in 2015, you broke a single season save record. And then the next year in 2016, you broke your own record. And then what's up, 2017, let me break that again. And then your whole career, you became the save leader of Nippon professional baseball.
Yeah, it was a crazy run for those 5 or 6 years in a row. It was one of those things where it almost felt like you were playing a video game. Like, I'm really not this good. That's why I ended up here, right? I got taken out of the big leagues. I got, taken off the roster. I'm really not this good. But all of a sudden, my career just got revitalized. I got stronger. As I got older, I got better. And that's why I was able to last.
Like fine wine, that sounds like.
Yeah, I think, like kind of like fine wine. And it just worked. It just worked out, the way God wanted it to. And it was such a blessing to have all of those years in a row.
And you feel like you were embraced by the fans pretty much right off the bat, or did you have to earn their respect? Because I know in the first segment we were talking about the difference.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you had to earn that respect a little bit more?
I did. My first year I had to earn it. No one ever talked about me, and by the third year they were inviting me to schools to go speak on certain subjects. I would go to restaurants. They'd have to shut the door and let my wife and my kids out. It got a little crazy. You know, baseball there and the stardom, you would be like a rock star here. So like my girls call me the Justin Bieber of Japan because they always say, Dad, how come in Chandler no one knows who you are, but in Japan you can't walk down the street? I said, well, that's the way we like it.
Yeah.
You know, we like it like that. So yeah, it's just a different feeling than it is here.
And then we have a legend in Major League Baseball right now, basically a legend in the making, Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
You spent some time facing Shohei, and actually you found quite a bit of success. So.
I own Shohei, and he'll probably tell you that too. Like if you talk to him, he's such a great kid. The first time I saw him play, I knew he was going to be special. Mm-hmm. I've actually said all along he should just hit. I think he could be a 40-40 guy.
Yeah.
But I got to see him when he was really young, front foot and homers opposite field, to now where he looks so confident on TV. And I'm just so proud of him. Just a solid good kid.
Tell me if I got this right too. So you faced him 13 times.
Yeah, 13
and
times.
He was only 2 of 13.
2 of 13, like 9 punch outs. Yeah, I got him a lot. You know, he's one of those guys where they respect him. When you're a Shohei Ohtani or a Masahiro Tanaka, you are respected instantly there. You're a legend instantly before you even did anything. And so the Japanese players respect him so much they would never pitch him in. And I would tell him, you guys, you got to pitch him in. You got to pitch him in. He's got a huge hole there.
Why would they not pitch him in?
They didn't want to hit him because he's a left-handed batter, but he's a right-handed pitcher. So he's out. His right arm's exposed. I mean, he's got metal arm. He's got all the gear on to protect him. But they were so scared, and so I started telling guys, "I'll buy you dinner. I'll give you $1,000 if you just hit him." Yeah. Just to show him, because he was killing us.
Did anybody take you up on that?
No, no one. They chickened out. I pitched him in, so at least I didn't have to pay him myself. But
so the American's just gonna pitch him in.
Yeah, and that was the thing. So when he came over here, I was like, if he doesn't adjust, he's gonna do miserably. And then all of a sudden, he made the adjustment, and it's just been, he hasn't looked back since.
I remember coming here to spring training and watching Shohei. It's like he's kind of getting owned. It feels like he's just a little bit out of his league, out of his funk.
He was, and he adjusted, and he made the right moves. Whoever his hitting coach is, he should thank him very much because, in Japan, he would front foot homers. He would just mess around with guys. And then he would be like, oh, I'll take it serious, and then hit one onto the concourse. The kid has got so much talent, and now he also throws 100. So how do you manage that? And
then finally, too, I feel like Giannis and Shohei are very similar because Giannis winning the Finals MVP, also winning the championship. He has a chance to be the face of the NBA, and Shohei has a chance to be the face of Major League Baseball. So what do you think of something like that after seeing him find so much success in Japan?
I would say he is. There's no politics in him. He goes out there, he plays. We haven't seen someone do what he's doing since Babe Ruth. And even then, Babe Ruth wasn't doing what hees doing. Like, you have to take the competition he had back then to what Shohei's
not slamming beers and hot dogs.
No, he's definitely not. The guy is built like a brick shithouse. He's got the body, 6'5", 6'6", 230. Hits tanks and throws 100. I mean, that's hard to argue. I think he is the face.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you too, and I think that would be great for Major League Baseball.
I think it would be too.
Coming up next on Breakaway, there is a ton of causes that athletes and leagues are telling you to stand for, but there is one cause Dennis Sarfate wants you to stand for and wants athletes to stand for. I'm John Root, and this is Breakaway. Nowadays, sports are just infiltrated and inundated with so many causes. Stand for this, don't stand for that. I think there's a lot of good ones. There's Stand Up to Cancer. I know when that happens in the MLB All-Star Game, it's incredible. And then there's other causes like we've seen continuously over the last few years especially. They're saying we got this social justice warrior stuff, and it divides a lot more than unifies, and it really doesn't help out the people they say they're standing up for. But there's one cause you feel like athletes should stand up for. What do you think that is?
Abortion.
Yeah.
I really do. I think when you look at the numbers are staggering. Since 1973 with Roe v. Wade, you have 60 plus million that are reported, and that's not even just the day after pill or back alley ones. You're talking babies being slaughtered 3,300 a day. And when you talk to social justice, if you want to talk about Black Lives Matter, let's talk about the 1,800 black babies that get slaughtered by their own moms every day across this country. So I think once you get the stats on abortion and how awful an abomination it is, you can almost go back to Nazi Germany. You had Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a Christian, who stood up and said euthanasia is not right, and he was actually put to death for it. And I believe that for me, I'm gonna die fighting for this until I'm gone. I'm gonna keep fighting for it.
Mm-hmm. And then Charlie brings up consistently on his podcast too when you're working on that with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being pro-life is something Charlie's really big about. So on the Charlie Kirk show, something that we've talked about frequently was in the city of New York, the black mothers, if you were to see a pregnant black woman on the subway or something, it's more likely she's headed to the abortion clinic than to the hospital to bring that baby to term. You have more black babies being aborted than being born in the city of New York. And that's a travesty. That is absolutely sad. And if black lives truly matter, shouldn't black babies be at the top of that list?
That's right. They should actually be at the abortion mills with us when we're sharing the gospel, telling moms that we'll pay for everything during their pregnancy. We have lawyers on standby that'll do the adoption side of it. When you're killing that many babies a day, this is something that's gone on for the last 40 years. We got to stop it. You know, you have to look at the numbers. And I invite Black Lives Matter. If they want to come stand outside with us and save babies, then they're actually doing what they say they want. But they don't want that.
You've actually taken it upon yourself. You're the president of Action for Life, and decided like, hey, this is your mission.
Yeah, because you know you can cry about it. I had someone tell me the other day, he's a state rep in South Carolina, he says, you can cry about it or do something about it. So, and how I got started is because of my wife. She was adopted when she was conceived in a one-night stand at a bus stop in Yuma, Arizona. The perfect candidate for her mom to have an abortion, didn't. And what she has done in her life has been remarkable, and then being a part of my walk with Christ and leading me in that way. So we took this on in 2014 with End Abortion Now. Not just with our time, but financially. And then once I got home and I was home for longer, I figured we can do this politically, and let's do legislation. Let's get it abolished. Let's end it. Let's not just talk about it. Let's do it. But you should be able to have a voice for something like this. You shouldn't be threatened to get canceled or taken off your team because you want to stand up for babies. Let's be real. We know that it's a baby from conception. There's no doubt about it. Even the pro-choice movement, their scientists would even give you that. They'll say, yeah, it's a baby. The mom just has a right to kill it. And I just don't think that's true. I think that God tells us in his word that babies are important and we shouldn't kill them. We should love them. And we've gone so far in the opposite direction of what God's word tells us that we need to get back on track.
Leagues getting into this might be a little muddy waters, but I think athletes, they can really stand up for a lot of causes.
Yeah, and I don't think leagues should do it because it's a political thing, right? I think that should be left alone. But if an athlete wants to do it on his own time, then he shouldn't be charged, with it and be canceled. He should be able to do an effort to do is to stand up for the preborn, someone that can't fight for himself, that can't speak, that can't go on Twitter or Facebook and tweet out something. So they need someone to fight for them, and what a better time than right now.
And then where's your move from here? What exactly are you guys trying to do? Who are you trying to partner with so now, you can really make a difference?
So we're working in 26 states. We have legislation in 9, and we just are trying to get people to run. We're trying to get candidates. Like, hey, if you want to do something about it, then let's do something. So we're running a guy here and in Arizona and a few across the country, but we're just trying to do our part and to make people aware of the numbers, what they are, and how staggering they are. I mean, if you think about Nazi Germany and the evil that it was, you talk about 6 million Jews slaughtered. Let's times that by 10 and talk about how many babies have been killed. And so we have to do something about it. It has to start now. And these babies aren't just like surgically taken out. They're actually taken out, ripped out with forceps. Their limbs are ripped off from one another. Their heads are crushed. And if they do make it through all of this and they are on the table breathing still, then they're just left there to die out. Like, what an inhumane thing. I don't see how anyone can look at that and be like, yeah, that's okay. But we do have that in our culture where they think that that's okay and that's perfectly legal.
Well, yeah, like I was at the March for Life in D.C. January of 2020, and Charlie was talking with a girl. We made a video, put it online about it. She was a protester, and she referred to babies in the womb as parasites.
So you think a 6-week fetus is a parasite?
By definition, I think so.
And I mean, what just a evil, nasty way to look at babies. I mean, the left is doing a very successful job at rebranding what babies are in the womb, and that's what you're saying. Like, culturally, education-wise, we failed somewhat, and we got to get back to the American population really wanting to protect these babies in the womb.
Yeah, the parasite, I mean, so she's saying she was a parasite at some point.
Yeah.
But let's go a step further where everyone's like, it's a fetus, it's a fetus. Well, now you're speaking Latin and that means little child. So whenever I hear that, I kind of just laugh and be like, they'll learn that that actually means little child.
Well, it's definitely commendable what you're doing too, because there's
Well,
a lot
thank
of
you.
people we've talked about before that they'll stand up for easy things that are going to get a lot of retweets or a lot of likes on social media, but you're doing a lot of work, and people, you can find some more information if you go to takeactionforlife.org. But thanks for your
Awesome, thank you so much.
Breakaway is going to be back shortly with the 40-second shot clock. Dennis Sarfate's on the hot seat. I'm John Root, and this is Breakaway. Oh, baby, it's my favorite time. 40-second shot clock. You are on the hot seat. We got some rapid fire questions. 40 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, let's roll. Universal DH or let the pitchers hit?
Pitcher's hit.
What was your go-to warm-up song before taking the mound?
Fly like an eagle.
Favorite movie of all time?
Bull Durham.
Best pitcher of all time?
Roger Clemens.
What actor would play you in a movie about your life?
Ooh, Val Kilmer.
All right, toughie here. If there was a zombie apocalypse, what 3 teammates would you want on your team to fight back?
Aubrey Huff, Kevin Millar, and Yuito Mori. He's my samurai.
What was your first car?
S10 pickup truck.
If you could change one thing in the game of baseball, what would it be?
Politics.
Last one for you. Favorite Japanese food?
Oof. Yaitai.
Yaitai. What is yaitai?
Yaitai is little street vendors, and they pop up these little tents, and you just go and you can have all different kinds. It could be a plethora of different things.
Well, we're out of time. Dennis, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Producer Brian, always a good time. But make sure you tune in next week for more important and authentic conversations about sports. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode so we can keep the conversation going all week long. My name is John Root, and this is Breakaway.